Hello Summoners and welcome back to another Pro Guides video. My name is Nathan Ng and today we'll be talking about our predictions for the 15 most broken champions on patch 11.21. One of the most important things in a constantly evolving game like League of Legends is to be able to adapt with the meta, and that's why we're here for you. If you want to know what's going to be OP before the patch even hits, you'll be ready to hit the ground running without even having to test and see which one buff or nerf really made that much of a difference. And if you don't know how to play any of these OP picks or you're just a little bit rusty, this will give you a few days to brush up on them in some normals or on a smurf. But before we get started, I just want to say that this list is not in any particular order. It's just a list of champions that we think are going to be some of the strongest, most influential picks on this patch. Starting things off with Teemo. For some reason, Riot has been really dead set on pushing Teemo up the ranks. Maybe they're releasing a new skin with him soon. I honestly have no idea, but at this point I just learned to not question Riot. Anyway, Teemo's going to be getting some multiple buffs in a row at this point. He's already a really solid pick at the moment, and we're afraid that this is going to push him into the S tier. And you know what that means? That means people are going to actually play him. Like I said, Teemo is already really strong. When he's played right, he's even encountered some of the best laners, including Camille. The buff that he's getting to his blind this patch will make dueling him as any auto attack based champion even more impossible. With a 7-second base cooldown at max rank and a 3-second duration, if you get some ability haste on him, you can basically permanently blind anybody without tenacity. We'll likely be covering a build or even multiple builds in other videos for this patch, so be sure to sub so you don't miss out on abusing this little rat champion. Whether you're trying to learn to abuse the broken champions on this list or learn how to deal with them when you end up on the wrong side of the matchup, if you really want to speed up the process, you should check out ProGuides.com. We have courses from all your favorite pros and streamers like Core JJ, Afremu, and X Smithy to really help you understand how to play your role. And if you want a more personalized experience, we have coaches available 24/7, ready to help you become the best. Our coaches are top tier players that have spent years climbing the solo queue ladder to get where they are now, and they're ready to share everything that they've learned with you. So stop spinning your wheels on your own and get on the fast track to higher elo today. Now let's get back on topic, shall we? Our second pick is Miss Fortune. She's been one of the ultra meta picks at Worlds due to how strong of a lane bully she is. MF deals a ton of damage even from early on, and you don't really need crazy mechanics to play her well. In fact, she's so easy that I'd just say that about anybody can abuse her for some free LP. The nerfs she's getting on this patch will do almost nothing to change that. The base mana change is quite minor. 25 mana is about half the cost of a Q. The W cost increase is also kind of a joke since it's the ability that you use the least on her in the early game. If you're having mana problems on MF, make sure that you're running Presence of Mind, not Overheal. And if you're still having mana problems, buy a Tear of the Goddess. If you build crit, sit on it early and then sell it later. If you're going lethality, upgrade it to Mana Immune for your second or third item. Our next pick is Rek'sai. Her super powerful early ganking has put her in a very high level for quite a few patches. And on top of that, on this patch, Lee Sin, Jarvan, Kayn, and Xin Zhao are all taking big hits. This is because they're all affected by the nerfs to Conqueror and Gore Drinker. Rek'Sai doesn't build Gore Drinker. You can just easily swap your runes to Hail Blades over Conqueror. In fact, a lot of people prefer that anyways, and statistically Hail Blades does do a little bit better, though it's with a smaller sample size and is reliant on snowballing a little bit harder. Ask any Master Plus player who the most broken top laner has been for the entire season, and you'll pretty much always get the same answer: Camille. For some reason, it really hasn't been on Riot's to-do list to get rid of a champion's ability to use Cho'Gath's ultimate every few seconds. Better buff Teemo. The Conqueror and Gore Drinker nerfs are supposed to hit all the OP bruisers and assassins that build those items, but Camille is usually played with Grasp and builds Divine Sunderer or Trinity Force, so she's completely slipping under this wave of nerfs. Our next pick is Lux. I'm almost hesitant to put her on this list, but these changes look really good for her. For one, the ultimate cooldown reduction means that even without having any ability haste, you can ult every other wave. This is great for breaking freezes, looking for roams, or just to get a free reset in. This is a great asset to her already strong laning. Lux is actually super safe against the meta mid lane assassins, able to harass them out of the lane while halting any trading attempt that they make by snaring them and then just running away. Another thing that pushes Lux up a notch or two is the nerf to Gore Drinker and Conqueror. Since assassins will be squishier again, catching them out with Q is basically a guaranteed one-shot with the rest of your spells, so you don't have to worry about them just eating your full combo and then just killing you anyway. Up next we have Fiddlesticks. I'm pretty sure that we passed up the anniversary for Fiddlesticks being an S tier champion. Over a full year of him being absolutely broken. Fiddlesticks' strength comes from how massively impactful his ultimate can be in team fights. He has the ability to fear and damage the entire enemy team all on his own, and we probably wouldn't call that balanced. Usually a super scaling champion like that is at least punishable early, but with his lightning fast, super healthy first clear, you can't really shut him down either. On the topic of ridiculously strong scaling, our next pick is Fiora. While aiming to nerf Goredrinker and Conqueror this patch was definitely a good start in getting rid of some problems in the current meta, I don't think Riot took the best approach. Specifically, I'm referring to them randomly adding Omnivamp to Goredrinker, in exchange for some of the nerfs that they all threw on it. This may actually make Fiora more OP than she was prior to this patch, since it means even more ridiculous healing from her passive, especially against beefy tanks and juggernauts. Also, in Bruiser vs Bruiser matchups, most good Fioras run Grasp of the Undying over Conqueror anyway, so that keystone being nerfed doesn't really do much here. Shaco is a huge benefactor of all the nerfs that we're seeing this patch and makes a list for that reason. The three biggest offenders of the Assassin's Champion building Goredrinker trend are Qiyana, Talon, and Kayn, with Kayn being definitely the most widespread across all levels of skill. Those champions can build like a bruiser, making them durable in teamfights but still having the damage to one-shot squishies. They also end up being super strong duelists, especially against an assassin like Shaco. They can usually pretty much easily survive his burst and then just beat him in an extended fight. This patch will hopefully get rid of that trend altogether and make assassins the glass cannons that they're supposed to be. And once that happens, Shaco should in theory be right back at the #1 spot for the assassin in this role. Karthus may be on Riot's list of nerf champions, but it's just a little placebo nerf. Karthus is still a ridiculously strong pick in the bot lane with no losing lanes and insane skilling that can easily carry late game teamfights. The lane strength comes from his ability to neutralize any 2v2 lane no matter the matchup. Against double range opponents, you can just use your superior wave clear to shove fast and avoid their poke, harassing them instead as they farm under tower. If a more dangerous kill-oriented lane tries to force fights on you, you have the damage to trade back or even kill them at any time. And with how insanely hard Karthus scales, trading kill for kill is always a win. Control mages have been considered dead for pretty much all of Season 11, but there's been one exception the entire time. Anivia has been in or right under the S tier ever since her huge buffs back in the preseason, but she's still an incredibly slept on pick even after a year. She's incredibly safe, with all the melee champions that dominate the mid lane being completely unable to reach her thanks to her Q stun and W's wall. In fact, once you have Tear and Lost Chapter for infinite mana sustain, Anivia is the one that ends up being the one that dominates the lane, able to get constant priority. And once you scale up to 2 or 3 items, she's an incredibly strong team fighter, providing ridiculous amount of damage and zone control around objectives. Even if Anivia doesn't fit the standard definition of a 1v9 champ, her super safe control gets really consistent results, and with that brings us to today's question of the day. What is the safest, most consistent carry that you can think of? Let us know your answers down in the comments below. A mid laner that isn't so slept on but I wish was underplayed is Katarina. Even when I'm not playing mid lane, Katarina is usually my go-to ban. I just can't be asked to deal with a champion that somehow wins lane every single game, constantly roams to gank bot lane, and then snowballs so far ahead that she can just end every teamfight in 3.8 seconds. A really common misconception is that all you need to do to deal with Katarina is to CC her. But that's simply not the case. Yes, her ultimate does a lot of damage, and if you disrupt it with a CC, it could probably cancel it. But so does everything else in her kit. And a good Katarina isn't just going to go in when you have everything up anyway. In the end, you just end up holding up all your CC, and the rest of your team is free to engage and do whatever they want. Graves is another example of how champions can be on the nerf list but still be S tier anyway. Losing 2 armor off each stack of E will make him a little bit more vulnerable, but honestly, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. It won't change the fact that Graves will still have insane burst damage and really solid DPS. Plus, the Goredrinker and Conqueror nerf means that pretty much all of Graves' competition is getting knocked down a lot harder than he is. Things in the bot lane aren't changing too much either as we go into this patch. Just like with Camille in the top lane and Katarina in mid, Vayne continues to be completely untouched, despite being one of the best champions in the role for a few months now. And with bruisers, specifically those in the jungle, being nerfed this patch, we potentially could see an increase in tanks being played, which would just be an indirect buff for Vayne. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind Vayne being a good pick, I just wish that they'd hit her early game hard, even if it meant compensating by giving her a stronger late game. She shouldn't be able to do well early so consistently. After receiving a buff both to herself and Imperial Mandate, Nami has been a top performing support and has even been played at Worlds. Her trading in lane is incredibly strong, with her getting both poke and sustain out of her W if you position well enough to get the bounces. And while Nami is really good on her own, she's downright broken if she's paired with Lucian. To the point where I just dodge if I see that as the enemy bot lane, because I know my bot lane is going to end the laning phase with at least 10 deaths. Finishing off our list, we have Blitzcrank. The current support meta in solo queue is basically all squishy champions. Just about every game you'll either see an Enchanter, Zillion, or Senna. Hooking any of these champions is basically a free kill and completely nullifies any of the support that they can provide. Out of lane, his hook is a deadly wildcard. You can honestly go 5 minutes without landing a single hook, but once you do, it can lead to a free objective or even the game. And that wraps up things for our predictions for the 15 most broken champions on patch 11.21. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure you sub so you never miss out on any content like this. Remember, let us know what champion you think is a safe and consistent carry down in the comments below. And one last thing, don't forget to check out our Discord in the description box below. We can go ahead and discuss things further or just hang out and be a part of the community. I can't wait to see you guys back in the next video, but until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.